Alright, the second part of today's lecture, we're going to talk about how we're able to develop a strategic goal for the organization. So basically, we're going to look at the strategic planning process. Right. So before we start looking at strategic planning process, we would like to look at planning. Right. Our last lecture, we talked about planning is one of the four main functions for the management. So planning, organizing, leading, and controlling, so evaluating. Right. So what's the planning? Right. So planning is including we're going to define organizational goal, determine appropriate means by which to achieve these desired goals. Right. So we have four different types of planning we would like to emphasize. First one is a short-term plan, right? Things we're gonna plan for a very short period of time, right? Sometimes it's a project or events within 1 to 3 years. We also develop a long-term plan, something we plan for 3 years or even longer in the future, right? We also have a standing plan. Standing plan is the plan that in place, and also we will continue repeatedly use this plan. We also have a single-use plan. The plan we develop only for one time, so we're unlikely to reuse these plans in the future. Short-term, long-term plan is very easy for us to understand. So if we say Chicago Bulls, his long-term plans to win the NBA championships in 10 years, whereas the short-term plans will be how we are able to improve our performance in next seasons. Right, so this is the difference between short-term and long-term plan. Very easy for us to understand. Standing plans talk about the plan we develop that we are able to use it for multiple times or repeatedly use the plan. Examples like when we're hosting college football games. During the season, we might host 6 to 7 home games. So we develop game plan for each of the home games, how we able to organize these games. So this plan is very similar, right? So we're going to reuse this plan multiple times every time when we host these home games. And the last type of plan is called single-use plan. We're going to develop a plan we only use once. So one example is a Super Bowl. In 2020 Super Bowl, we'll be hosting Miami next year. So single-use plan is talking about we develop a plan for hosting a Super Bowl, but this plan is unlikely to reuse again in the future because Miami is not going to host another Super Bowl in a very short period of time. Maybe Miami, when the Miami had the opportunity to host another Super Bowl in 2040, and 20 years later, everything has been changed. The plan you developed 20 years ago cannot be reused. So that's why we think it is a single-use plan. So those are the differences between short-term, long-term plan, standing plan, and single-use plan. Speaking of strategic planning, normally we develop a plan for 3 to 5 years. We're not just develop plan during the 3 to 5 years. We are also review and revise these plans every single year to make sure every year the thing that we are doing is really help us to achieve the goal 5 years later. So there are 4 steps of the strategic planning. First thing is we have to develop vision, mission statements, and value statement for the organization. Second thing is we have to conduct environmental analysis and understand a little bit about our strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats, and also think about what kind of issue that we have to address as organizations. Third step is we try to develop goal and objective, based on the results of the environmental analysis. What kind of goal and objective that we will have to address, we have to achieve in the future. After developing a goal and objective, we will have to go and develop strategies, how we are able to achieve this goal and objective that we developed. So we start with the vision and mission statements first. All the organizations, they have vision statement, they have mission statement. So what the difference between a vision statement and a mission statement? So a vision statement normally is future aspirations. It's a statement talking about what your organizations will become. Right? Normally it's a broad statement. Normally it's unlikely for you to change because you create very broad statements. Just give people an idea what your organization will look like in the future. Right? Mission statements compared to vision statements, they will include organization's purpose, philosophy, and values. So basically, you try to describe who you are, what we do as a business, and what kind of service we provide, what kind of products we're producing. Right? So for the mission statement, we'll use more concise term and languages. And mission statements is also to be living documents, right? So they suggest to change. Why mission statements living documents? It's because a lot of organizations, maybe in these 10 years, we're producing this kind of products. 10 years later, the environment has been changes, so we have to create brand new products in order to adapt the changes to the environment. So that's why we will have to make some updates in our mission statements. Right, I'll give you some example for the mission statements. Here you can see Miami University mission statements, right? They're talking about is a student central public university and founded in 1809. They talk about what we do, what we try to commit, and what our values are, right? So this is a mission statement. So vision statement sometimes is only one sentence or maybe two sentences. Right, it's normally not longer than two sentences. Mission statements, however, normally we have a 4 to 5 sentences using concise term and language to describe who we are and what we do. I'll give you two examples here. First example is USOPC. USOPC is United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee. Right, so in the past it's called USOC for many years. This name just changes in 2019. So USOPC, their mission statement say they want to support U.S. Olympic and Paralympic athletes in achieving sustained competitive excellence while demonstrating the values of the Olympic movements, thereby inspiring all Americans. Right, so USOPC's mission statement is talking about what they're trying to achieve as the organization, provide support to not just Olympian but also Paralympian, right, to achieve their goals, right, and also committed to the Olympic movement, and also they try to inspire Americans, right. So this is the USOPC's mission statement. Well, MFL Foundations, MFL Foundation, they talk about their mission statement is the least non-for-profit organization representing the 32 MFL clubs. So its missions is to support the health, safety, and wellness of the athletes, youth footballs, and communities which support our games. Right? When you look at MFL's foundation statements, mission statements, so they clearly define what they're actually doing, right? They say it's the least non-for-profit organization representing all the teams, right? They indicate about their missions, support health, safety, and wellness of the athletes, youth footballs, and communities, right? So the statement is not long, 2 sentences, but they contain a lot of information and help people to picture what MFL Foundation is doing, right? So normally a vision statement will be very unlikely for people to picture what this organization is doing. Just give them a very big, broad picture. But mission statements normally help you to understand what you're actually doing as an organization. In addition to the vision and mission statement, we also have a value statement. Right? Value statement sometimes they define the organization's believing and how people in the organization are expected to behave. So we'll always emphasize our values. Right? So a lot of time, the value statement we're using some keywords and key terms and provide the explanation for each of the keywords. Right? So NBA, right? So their values is integrities, teamwork, respects, innovations. Right? Very short. And also using the word and provide explanation for each of them, right? PGA Tour, right? So they say we're diverse, respectful, innovative, energetics, and never compromising, right? So this is about their values, right? So they're using the key words and also provide explanation for each of them. So anyone know about the value of Miami universities? Now we talk about the value all the time. I think you should be able to know about the value of Miami University, right? Two very important words: love, honors, right? So this is the value. So value statements, we will include these key terms and provide explanations. So this is the first step: develop vision mission statements and also develop value statements. Second step to develop a strategic plan is we will have to go and conduct a situation analysis. Right, situation analysis, they basically drop off those features in the organization's environments that most directly frame its strategic windows of options and opportunities. So to conduct a situation analysis, there are 4 steps we have to follow. First one is we're going to go and assess the current strategies in the past 5 years, right? And then we're going to conduct SWOT analysis. Some of you, when you're taking marketing class, you know what a SWOT analysis is, right? Strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats, right? And then we have to go and think about what will be our competitive advantage, or say competitive strength. And also we're going to decide what issue that we'll try to address as an organization. So to help you to understand situation analysis better, we're using an example of FC Cincinnati, the new MLS teams. So think about it. What are the current strategy has been utilized by the FC Cincinnati in the last 5 years? Right? Think about it. What current strategy has been used? Right? So FC Cincinnati was actually founded in 2015. Right? It arrived to the Queen Cities in 2015 as USL teams. Right? In 2019, FC Cincinnati decided to move themselves from a USL team and join the MLS, become one of the MLS teams. Right. So their current strategy, obviously, is their first of all the MLS team. They're currently building up the new facility, West End facility, and also the current strategy they're using low price strategies. Right. So the ticket price is very cheap. If you go and watch FC Cincinnati's games, you know their strategy, their ticket prices are very low, right? So those are the strategy that FC Cincinnati's has been using right now. So when we try to continue to move forward to look at the SWOT analysis that give you a bigger pictures about what this organization is currently doing and what area and they're able to continue to grow in the future and what are the threats they're facing. Right, for the SWOT analysis, we know that strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. Strength and weakness, we look at it from an internal environment. Opportunity and threat, we look at it from an external environment. So strength and weakness, we look at like human resource management, we look at it finance, products, activity and process, past experiences. Opportunity and threat, we look at for the future trend, economic, demographics, and community relationships and legislation regulations, right? So we look at FC Cincinnati as examples. If we conduct a SWOT analysis, what would be the strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats? I'll give you some minute to think about it. Okay, let's talk about the strength first. What would be the strength for FC Cincinnati from your perspective? Basically talking about what you're good at, what product service you're providing, what market, what customer you try to target, how's the reputation of your organization and employees, right? What will be the strength for the FC Cincinnati for your perspective? First thing, think about the location, right? The stadium is close to downtown, very easy for people to go and watch the games, right? Also, it's a new professional sports games in Cincinnati, so they can attract some attention. Right, having a brand new facilities is currently being built, right? So those are the strength, right? The strength also includes soccer is going so fast in the United States, right? They can draw people's attentions, and also other strengths including fan support, right? Cincinnati is actually fifth highest soccer playing cities in the U.S. You have very high loyalties, and they have very high attendance. In the MLS in 2019, So the average attendance is 27,000 fans, right? It's currently ranked number 3 in the MLS, right? And also the game day experience are very good. So a lot of family would like to go and watch the games, right? So those are strengths. How about weakness? What will be the weakness? Right, weakness possibly is, FC Cincinnati's the result is not that positive, right? The first season in the MLS, they didn't win that many games. It possibly currently is the worst teams in the league, right? So that is one of the strong weakness, right? Another weakness possibly the lot of training facility right now. We know the stadium is currently being built, so the teams play at the UC's facilities, right? So they don't really have a good training facilities. So that could be the weakness for the organizations. So think about what other weakness the FC Cincinnati has. What will be the opportunities? So opportunities including 2026 World Cups will be hosted in the United States, and Cincinnati is currently one of 32 cities that want to bid for hosting the 2026 World Cup. So obviously, if you're able to host the World Cups in the future, that really help the growth of soccer in the cities and attract fan base, right? And also another opportunities is they have a rivalry between Columbus Crews and FC Cincinnati. They call it Ohio Derby. Soccer derby is such a big thing, right? Derby is talking about two teams from one city of one area. They compete against each other. It's become a tradition. Normally, will attract a lot of people's attentions, right? So that will be the opportunities. You can continue to recruit these high-profile international players to make the teams improve their performance, right? You can continue to increase the diversity of the communities. And also another opportunity is the growing popularities of the more families in the Cincinnati area, right? So those will be the opportunity. Threats. What other external factors that will prevent you from growing? Threat for this one including other MLS in the area, like Columbus Crews, Chicago Fires, and also newcoming St. Louis teams, right? And other professional teams in Cincinnati areas, right? We have the Reds, we have the Bengals. Those are the threats, right? And also some people talk about logistic issues in current stadiums, and also the potential economic recessions in the future, and also raising ticket price after becoming an MLS team, which will also become a threat to the organization for the future growth, right? So those is how we conduct a SWOT analysis on FC Cincinnati. The third step, what we're going to do is we try to think about what will be our competitive advantage. So what made us unique in these particularly competitive markets? How can we maximize our competitive advantage to win over these competitions? How can you define your competitive advantage? You will have to, first of all, think about what will be our major competitors in the markets. And in these markets, how can you be successful? Think about Cincinnati. It's a city with 300,000 people. But when we look at the bigger areas in the Ohio's, Kentucky's, Indiana's, the metro populations is at 2.1 million people, right? Look at the demographic. We have 50% white, 42.8% of the African Americans. So we are pretty diverse communities, right? And what made us unique? Think about it. What made FC Cincinnati unique compared to the others? First thing, possibly is you're the only professional soccer products, right? No other major professional soccer teams in these markets, right? Also, you have reasonable ticket price. If you go to watch a Bengals games, could be pretty expensive, but FC Cincinnati's games is a pretty reasonable price. New facility, right? We talk about West End Stadiums can host 26,000 people. Will be the second largest facility in town. They can attract a lot of people because a lot of people maybe want to go and watch a game in a brand new facility, so want to get that experience, right? We talk about potential World Cup bigs, major international competitions taking place in Cincinnati might also, give you more advantage on this, and also having international players, right? They can help you to reach out to more international fans. So those will be a competitive advantage for Cincinnati's. After conducting a situation analysis, conducting SWOT analysis, understand about your competitive advantage, you have to think about what will be the major issue that you would like to address. So what are current problems, right? First of all, we talk about team's performance not good, so we want to improve team's performance, right? And then we're gonna enhance fans' loyalty. We have a lot of loyal soccer fans in Cincinnati already, but we would like to enhance fans' loyalties, right? Hopefully they're not just come for one games. Hopefully they can coming for multiple different games. Although our results not good, but we hope they can keep coming back next season, buying season tickets, right? As a professional sports team, we also try to enhance our engagements with our communities, how we're able to maximize that, right? So those are the issues that we would like to address. So after conducting this analysis, that we are able to understand when we are developing goal and objective, we have to base on what we find out in these steps, right? So we have to think about how we're able to improve team performance, enhance fan loyalties, and also enhance the community engagement. So the third steps for developing a strategic plan is we're going to go and develop goal and objective. So goal and objective are different, right? Goal normally broad statement, qualitative nature, provide a general direction to a sports organization, and also make sure it's achievable. Objective normally is a quantitative statement, matchable, realistic, and clear, and type to achieving specific goal, right? We'll give you an example. We say goal is a broad statement, right? Objective is a specific statement, quantitative statements, right? So if we develop goals, we want to raise awareness of bowling in the community. What will be the objective, right? We can develop two objectives, right? We can double the numbers of the mentions in the local newspapers coverages, right, during the 60 days leading up to the events. The second goal will be we try to create 10 youth bowling clinics in the 2 weeks periods prior to the games, right? Look at the goal and objective we develop here. Goal, broad statement, right? Increase awareness of bowling in the communities, right? Objective, we talk about specific statements, quantitative statements, right? Which means you need to have the numbers involved. Realistic and matchable, we're able to know whether we can achieve this goal or not, right? So, say the first one is say we double the number of dimensions, so quantified this goal already, right? On the local news coverages, right? And also the second one is take about we can operate 10 youth bowling clinics in 2 weeks times, right? There also is a quantified statement, right? Matchable. So when we're going to review this goal and objective, we know whether we achieve this goal or objective or not, because quantified statement can help you easily to identify whether you have achieved the goal you set in the first place, right? That's our second step. There's a third step. The last steps is after we developing the goal, we will have to go and identify the implementation and control strategy. So implementation and control strategy normally decide whether we can achieve the achievements. To make sure the achievements of the strategic objective developed by the organization. So we have to develop implementation strategy and control strategy. Implementation strategy is talking about how we are able to achieve this goal and objective we developed in the first place. We did talk about previously, go back to the previous slide, to say we're going to double the numbers of the mentioned in the local news coverages. So implementation strategy will be how we are able to double the mention of local coverages, right? Maybe we can reach out to the local medias, try to create some interesting story and let them to report on. Maybe we'll give them the opportunity to talk to our event managers about these events, right? So get more mention about it, right? So those are implementation strategy. Implementation strategies will also include how we're able to, who should be responsible for, implement these strategies. And also the third thing we have to think about is we develop control strategy, right? Control strategy is to measure the progress of the implementation. So how do we know whether we're in the right track or not, right? We'll give you an example about the goal, implementations, and control strategies. So we talk about FC Cincinnati. Our goal is we try to enhance fans' loyalty, right? So this is a goal, broad statement. And objective, we talk about quantitative statements, right? Ensure 90% of season ticket holders renew their package in the next 5 years. Quantitative statement, matchable. So 5 years later, we will know whether this 90% of season ticket holders renew that ticket package. Right, strategy, right, what will be the implementation strategy? First thing, we can organize meet and greet to connect fans and players, schedule exclusive stadium tour to the selected season ticket holder, right, work with sponsors to provide more benefit to the season ticket holders, right? So those are strategy, right? You also have to think about who needs to be responsible for implementing the strategy. So sales department, you possibly have to letting these season ticket holders know about this strategy we use. Marketing department, you have to also keep them informed, work with sponsors to explore more opportunities. Right? What will be the control strategy? Control strategy is we could have an annual season ticket sales report. So if we have the annual season ticket sales report, then we will know whether we can reach the goal or not 5 years later, right? And then we can use a third party to conduct a marketing research to try to understand about season ticket holders, their experience, whether they're happy with the service we provide or not, right? So this is an example how we are able to start with developing vision, mission statements, and then we started to conduct environmental analysis, and then SWOT analysis, including SWOT analysis, and then we're gonna develop goal and objective. And the last step is we try to develop implementations and control strategies. So this is how we are able to develop a strategic goal and develop a strategic plan. Right. This is also going to be one of your assignment that you have to complete in this class. Right. So you're using the process that what we discussed today to complete these assignments. Right. So the last topic we're going to talk about today is about strategic planning. So we're not going to spend too much time to talk about strategic planning because the textbook basically explains everything. So basically strategic planning is talking about the purpose and the plan of actions enable the organization to achieve the goal. The reason we need to have a strategic management is because that really can help us to understand these organizations better. So there are three main strategy that we have to talk about that related to strategic management. So first one is a corporate level strategy, right? Corporate level strategy is basically a broader strategy for the entire corporations, right? And a lot of time, each of the corporations might have multiple different product line, right? So each of the product line, you have a business strategies. Right, we'll give you an example, Nike, right? Nike is not just producing footwear. They also produce jersey, produce sportswears, produce some of the leisure products, right? Also produce like sports watches. So they have multiple different products involved in the Nike. So each of the product line, they do have their business strategy, right? So those are business level strategy. Corporate level strategies and Nike as a brand, as an entire corporation, what they're trying to do, right? So within each of the product line, they also have a functional strategy. So how do we best support each of our business strategy that include finance, human resources, manufacturing, and marketing, right? So let's look at those strategy one by one. The first strategy we talk about is the corporate level strategy. Is organizational plan for managing multiple different product line. For the corporate level strategy from the textbook, they did mention about we have grand strategy, right? Grand strategy we have 4 times. We have growth strategy, standard, stabilized strategy, turnaround strategy, and combinations. One of those. So growth strategy is talking about those business they try to expand aggressively. We're using MLS example, right? MLS was founded in 1996, right? Initially, you had only 8 teams or 10 teams at the beginning, but now MLS has 24 teams. In the future, they're planning to have a 28 team very shortly. So they're expanding aggressively. Another example is XFL. We started their first season in 2020s, right? So they expanded very quickly. So those are growth strategy for this professional sports organization. The second strategy, grand strategy, is called stabilized strategies. Stabilized strategy talking about we're going to maintain our current size and grow very slowly. Example like MLB, like we have all the teams in MLB, so we grow very slowly because we are currently in a very mature market. So all these 4 major professional sports league, MFL, MLB, NBA, and NHL, they all grow very slowly. So we're happy with our size, like 30, 32 team. We're happy with how many teams we have here right now in the league. So we're not gonna do a expand aggressively like other sports. The third grand strategy called turnaround is comeback or cutback. So example is a Converse, right? Converse, many long years ago, like 20 years ago, he was like one of the very main products in the markets. But in 2001, so the longtime makers of athletic footwears filed for bankruptcy protections, and so the owners want to continue to sell this company to Nikes. So the Converse finally merged by the Nikes, and in 2008, Converse finally started making profit, right? So you can look at Converse when they in the last 30 years. At the beginning, they're one of the very important products in the markets, but you know, in the 2001, they filed for bankruptcy protections, right? Because they have some issues. So after merging by Nikes, so Converse brands has been improved significantly, and the profit has also been improved significantly. But the last strategy is called combination. So combination is one of those strategies we talked about previously. Business level strategy is about talking about each of the business line that we will have to go and develop strategy as well. There are 3 different strategy we're going to emphasize here. First one is a cost, leaderships. So basically, we try to use the low-cost strategies, make sure our product is competitive because of the low cost. Right. One example is Walmart. So Walmart is the #1 in the Fortune 500 companies in the world. So one of strategy Walmart has been using is low cost, right? So if you're using Walmart's app, actually every time when you're buying products, you can scan the banners, and all the product you purchase has been recorded in your account. And Walmart actually will refund the differences if they're not selling you the cheapest product in the areas, right? So they're using low-cost strategies. Another example is a Costco, right? Some people paying $60, $50 or $60 membership fee to the Costco because Costco, why it's so popular is because the product there is really cheap and good qualities. Those are cost advantage. They're using low-cost strategy. The second one is called product differentiation. So you try to develop a different goal, develop a brand, right? You're using a logo to separate yourself from the other. For instance, Nike, Adidas, Under Armour. So those brand, those product always can be identified or recognized by the customer because they have very strong brand. They differentiate their product from the others. They differentiate their brand from the others. The third strategy is called focusing one particular market niches, right? So this is a business level strategy. Last level strategy called functional level strategy. So it's an organizational plan for managing one area of the business. In each of the business line, we also have a different functions to support each of the business line to reach the goal, right? So here I'll give you example. This is an example from textbook, right? So So this is the duty, this is each of the function. We have HR department, finance department, operational department, marketing department, and others. So we try to do a matching questions here. So which one should be taken care of by what functions or what department and why? So clean up repair facility, for instance, who need to be responsible for that? Of course, right? Operational departments, right? So for these, how about send out the bills? Finance departments, right? Transfer input to output, operational departments, right? Decide where the products will be sold. Think about it, decide where the product will be sold. Obviously the marketing departments, right? Evaluate employees' performance. HR department, human resource departments, right? So this is a function level strategy. Have a quick review for today's class. We did talking about 4 management theory: Taylorism, bureaucratic management, human relations movement, and organizational behaviors. Right. So you have to know a little bit about what are the key principles for each of the management theory. Taylorism is we basically indicate managers need to find the best way to perform their job. Bureaucratic management is more close to the modern business model that we are using right now. So they say when you select the employee, you have to base on their qualification and skill, not based on the relationship you have with them. Right? Human relations movement, we're basically talking about to enhance the productivity, we need to focusing on the social environments. Right? Organizational behavior theory talk about more different issues together. We also talk about strategic planning process. 4 steps. Start with develop vision, mission statement, and value statement for an organization. Environmental analysis, including SWOT analysis. We're going to develop goal and objective. Goal need to be qualitative, objective need to be quantitative, and also have developed implementation and control strategy. And last but not the least, we also did talk a little bit about strategic management, 3-level, proper, business, and functional level. So you have to know about all the strategy below each of the levels. Okay, so this is today's lecture. So I hope that you enjoy what we're talking about. If you have any questions related to today's content, please feel free to email me, and we'll see you guys next time.